The Newsday continues here on One News Now. I'm Pauline Verzosa. The Ombudsman has denied suspended Bamban-Tarlac Mayor Alice Guo's appeal to lift her preventive suspension. In its ruling, the Ombudsman said it did not find any compelling reason to lift the preventive suspension against Guo and two other local government officials. The Ombudsman also reminded Guo that the preventive suspension is not a penalty, but a measure to prevent her from using her position to influence potential witnesses or tamper records. Guo and two other local officials were placed under preventive suspension after the Interior Department filed graft charges against them for allegedly issuing permits to an illegal pogo. Senators sought more clarity on the June 17 incident in Ayungin Shoal. For the first time, the injured Navy officer broke his silence, firmly stating that it was not an accident. He said that China's actions were intentional. Here's the report.
Hindi siya may tawag na aksidente, ma'am. Intentional, ma'am.
Okay.
Intentional yung pagbangga, pagbutas, pagsira.
This was how Philippine Navy Seaman First Class Jeffrey Facundo described the most recent harassment by Chinese forces in Ayungin Shoal. He was the soldier who lost a finger during the encounter last June 17. Facundo told senators in a hearing today how the Chinese Coast Guard quickly swarmed them as they were about to reach the BRP Sierra Madre. Facundo said their boat was rammed twice and with such force that on the second attempt, his finger was severed.
Ngayon, yung rib ng kalaban, ma'am, dito sa kaliwa, umangat po, ma'am. Pumatong sa rib natin. Tapos yung kill niya, yung ilalim po na matulis na, nung pagbangga po na ano pa ako, out of balance, na tumba. Ngayon, ma'am, yung rib na to, yung sana ko bumagsak, doon rin siya bumagsak po, ma'am.
For the DFA, China's actions in Ayungin runs counter to the agreed policy between President Bongbong Marcos and Chinese President Xi Jinping.
To our counterparts, that was really incomprehensible how the delivery of basic necessities to our troops on the BSP Sierra Madre could be considered a provocation that would justify an increased level of Chinese actions. And so, therefore, we believe their actions only intensified and escalated tensions. And certainly something we should be concerned about.
With this, some senators suggested having a military-to-military discussion between the Philippines and China regarding the dispute at sea. But Defense Chief Teodoro had this to say.
None, ma'am, during my time. They have a tendency of using the talks against us. They have not proven a level of good faith that would warrant our sensitive department to talk to them.
Meanwhile, Teodoro was also asked about the changes in the statements characterizing the June 17 incident. Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin earlier made headlines for saying the encounter was probably a misunderstanding, something Teodoro would later on clarify as not a misunderstanding and neither was it an accident.
Litong-lito na ang mamayang Pilipino sa naririnig na parang paiba-iba naman ata tayo. Nasabi na ni General Browner, piracy ito. So he was able to conclude that. Why did the E.S. Bersamin conclude something completely different?
No, he did not conclude, ma'am. If you notice, being a Chief Justice, he used the terms probably, and he wanted to make sure of his facts.
Ano ba nangyari dyan? Parang walang proper verification, sinalang siya sa presko, nagsalita siya, ngayon linalaglag ng lahat. Anong klase yun?
Hindi ho naglalaglag, but there's no intention to do that. He's our primus inter pares, naturally. But I'm just explaining the context.
The hearing continued in an executive session with senators hoping to get answers on more sensitive matters involving national defense and security. Reporting for News 5, Bean Los Baños, we are One News.
One political analyst says China is testing the Philippines' unified position on the West Philippine Sea. Political science professor Aris Arugay told The Big Story that he was surprised by the administration's varied responses on the issue. He emphasized the need for the government to take a unified stance and avoid dissonance among government institutions. Recall that the Defense Department said that the recent Ayungin incident was deliberate contrary to the previous statement of Malacanang.
I think in the end, hopefully, the lessons could be learned from this incident that there should be, particularly in the executive branch, isa lang yung linya nila and everyone toes the line. Lalo na ngayon, the more that we communicate na kalat, iba-iba yung versions, we're actually empowering and giving more points to the one who is challenging our in the West Philippine Sea.
We'll be back with more stories after this break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Pauline Verzosa. Two weather systems will trigger rains in some parts of the country. The easterlies or warm winds are affecting most parts of the country. Scattered rains are expected over Bicol, Eastern Visayas, Aurora, and Quezon. Also affected are Metro Manila and the rest of Luzon and Visayas. Meanwhile, the Intertropical Convergence Zone or ITCZ prevails over Mindanao. Scattered rains are expected, particularly in Caraga and Davao regions. The rest of Mindanao may also expect isolated rains due to the ITCZ. Some Maynilad customers in Caloocan will receive rebates totaling to over 2 million pesos next month because of poor water quality. The Metropolitan Waterworks and Sewerage System Regulatory Office, or MWSS, said Maynilad's water supply to some Caloocan barangays last year did not pass the Philippine national standards for drinking. Based on their water sampling, the water supply from November 29 to December 19 contained high coliform level. As a penalty, Maynilad has to reduce over 530 pesos in the water bill of almost 4,000 customers. Maynilad and One News under Signal are part of the MVP group of companies. Tennis sensation Alex Ayala survived her first qualifying match at Wimbledon yesterday. The 19-year-old Pinay tennis player won against Jessica Ponchette of France 7-6 and 6-4. Ayala is reaching closer to the main draw of a Grand Slam tournament for the first time. She is preparing to face 2021 French Open semi-finalist Tamara Zidansek of Slovenia in the next round. Conflicts between religious beliefs and the LGBT+ community are often unavoidable. Yet for a drag performer, this tension does not pose a problem as he maintains a strong faith even in the face of criticism. Mobile Journal Evan Tarinque has the details.
Sa mundo ng LGBT community, patuloy na lumalaki ang komunidad ng mga drag queens at drag shows. Pero sa kabila ng alter ego ng mga reynang ito ay mga kwentong hindi inaasahan. Gaya ng nakilala ko mayroon palang honorary PhD sa theology. Makukulay at mga energetic performances ang aasahan mong makita sa mga drag shows. Pero sino mag-aakala na isa sa mga drag queens dito sa Pilipinas ay mayroong honorary PhD sa religious study? Meet Salmonella, ang full-time drag artist. Dati palang nagtuturo ng religion subjects sa eskwelahan noon.
In my former life, it was really my passion. Theology, the Catholic Church. I'm trying to marry the fact Catholic faith and drag can both coexist.
Ang kanyang doctorate, tinatawag na honoris causa o honorary PhD at ibinibigay ito ng isang institusyon sa nagbibigay ng natatanging ambag sa kanilang larangan. Isa sa mga sikat na nakatanggap ng honorary PhD ay si Taylor Swift. Pagdating kay Salmonella, makikita mo pa rin ang connection ng simbahan kahit sa kanyang pangalan. Kung sa una, may isip agad ng marami yung bakterya. May deeper meaning pa pala ito dahil dati siyang member ng choir kaya naisipan niyang ipangalan ng Salmo na dinugtungan na lang ng Lela or the witty. Pero katulad ng ilang miyembro ng LGBT community, hindi raw talaga mawawala ang tumataas ang noo sa kanya.
Hindi nila ako kilala. They do not know the faith that I have with my God. They don't know the relationship I have with my God.
Mula sa pagiging guro hanggang sa pagiging drag artist, iisa lang ang pangako ni Salmonella, ang hindi pagkalimot sa pinanggalingan at ang kanyang paniniwala sa Diyos na hindi niya bibitawan.
I love my faith. Hindi ko never ko siyang i-give up. And that was also my promise to my family, that I will never give up my faith.
Ang pagdadrag para sa marami ay isang form ng art at tulad na ibang uri ng sining, hiling din ng mga drag artists, ang pagrespeto sa kanilang paniniwala. Mobile Journal, Ivan Taringki po hatid ang mukha ng balita.
And those are the top stories of the hour. I'm Pauline Verzosa. We are One News.